absolutely certainty that Busan was the best place for me to start my business, thanks to the specialized blockchain zone. In the past 7 years, Busan has become my second home and I obviously love it here. Global City Busan, we are in it together. This campaign was brought to you by BFM, 부산영어방송.
During the hot summer season, typhoons can make landfall here in Korea unexpectedly. To prepare for this type of situation, please follow these guidelines. First, close all doors and windows and stay inside. Listen to your radio or tune into your TV for more information and keep your weather radio handy.
태풍은 내일 새벽 3시.
Avoid dangerous places such as flood-prone areas and landslide hazard areas. Turn off all utilities such as gas and appliances. Do not go near construction sites or any hazardous areas where you may get swept away by rapids. Let's keep these things in mind so that we can all have a safe, hot summer season. This is brought to you by BFM, 부산영어방송.
The time is now 2 o'clock.
Welcome to BFM News at 2. I'm David Kim. President Yoon Suk-yeol proposed gradually raising pension premiums at different rates for younger and middle-aged generations to enhance the pension system's financial stability. Speaking during a policy briefing, Yoon emphasized the need to legally guarantee pension payments to reassure young people amid concerns over the fund's depletion projected to occur in 2055. The National Pension Service previously reported that the fund could face its first deficit in 2041. The South Korean government and ruling party agreed to increase penalties for deepfake sex crimes following public outrage over cases involving young women. They plan to raise the maximum prison term from 5 to 7 years and establish a hotline with Telegram, a platform where such content is shared. Due to Telegram's overseas servers, international cooperation has been challenging. The government intends to meet with Telegram to secure year-round consultations and address these issues. Many chat rooms involved in creating and sharing deepfake content have been discovered recently. In local news, Busan City said today that it will officially establish basic plans for the development of 5 areas as part of its efforts to redevelop aging planned cities. The original candidates for redevelopment included Haeundae 1 and 2, Hwamyeong 2, Dade, Mandok, Hwamyeong, Geumgok, and Gaegeum, Hakjang, Jure. Following the release of the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport's basic guidelines for aging planned cities on August the 14th, Busan City decided to connect Hwamyeong, Geumgok with the same living area while separating Mandok and adding the Mora area for further review. Gaegeum, Hakjang, Jure, which does not meet the basic guidelines, will be excluded from the redevelopment targets. Busan City signed a memorandum of understanding yesterday with the Busan branch of the Regional Health and Medical Institutions Association and the Busan Ulsan Gyeongnam Pharmaceutical Distribution Association to establish a public-private partnership system for managing KGSP-compliant pharmaceutical distribution facilities. The agreement aims to share information related to pharmaceutical distribution quality management standards, KGSP, support the management of compliant facilities, and eradicate illegal drug distribution to build a pharmaceutical safety city, Busan. Busan English Broadcasting, BEFM, will hold a special outdoor live broadcast of All-Star English at 7 p.m. on August 31st at Ocean Garden on the second floor of the PIAD in Yeongdo. The broadcast will feature appearances by singer Kim Jo-han, broadcaster Campbell Asia, BFM's Shin Min-soo, and Busan's communication character Boogie. All-Star English is an English learning program where various citizens, such as parents, office workers, and small business owners, learn English expressions in different situations with influencers in a fun and easy way. This special broadcast will be simultaneously streamed live on BEFM's YouTube channel. In international news, the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games began with a spectacular opening ceremony featuring a parade along the Champs-Élysées to Place de la Concorde. This marked the first time the Paralympics opening ceremony was held outside a stadium. Around 65,000 spectators attended the event with free access to the parade and a ticketed open-air ceremony. The Games will feature 4,400 athletes from 168 delegations competing in 22 sports for 549 gold medals. And now taking a quick look at the weather here, the Korea Meteorological Administration announced a typhoon advisory for the southern outer seas of the southeastern East Sea starting at 10 a.m. this morning. The temperatures are currently averaging 31 degrees Celsius under a heatwave advisory. And that'll have to do it for this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Coming up next is 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Eating a healthy and balanced diet is often easier said than done. It takes thought, it takes time, it takes effort to prepare fresh and nutritious food, right? Less healthy options are often much easier and more convenient, right? Let's face it. But eating healthy doesn't have to be boring. You can actually get accustomed to cooking with less salt, and it does your body good. And your taste buds just might not realize what they've been missing because I can promise you, I've had this experience myself. Go without the salt. Today is actually More Herbs, Less Salt Day, and that's what we're going to talk about today, as well as healthy dishes from around the world. It's Thursday, August 29th. This is the 2 p.m. Reboot. Let's get the show started. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just listened to the song Salt by Ava Max. Very, very good, Napidi. It made me chuckle a little bit. I didn't realize that was coming up. And that song from 2020, and I quote, "I'm all out of salt, tears are running dry." I guess you got to realize salt is something we consider important. Not just one song by Ava Max. I was thinking about it. There's like Salt and Peppa, the American hip-hop group. There's a film starring Angelina Jolie from 2010 called Salt. I was like, man, salt is hard to avoid, isn't it? And that's the purpose of More Herbs, Less Salt Day. It came about as an effort to reduce the amount of sodium in the average person's diet because, face it, we probably have way too much of it. So in addition to simply shaking salt on at meals, sodium is also often used as an ingredient in many pre-prepared convenience foods, those ones you just grab off the shelf and don't even think about what's in it. Guess what's in it? A lot of salt. And that means a lot of people are getting more sodium in their diets than they even realize. So thus the idea, More Herbs, Less Salt Day. That's kind of just a way to remind people to begin paying more attention to how much salt we intake, and also to get creative with other ways to flavor food. I did see a suggestion online here for just an example of a no-salt seasoning. You can mix together garlic powder, dried parsley, dried basil, ground thyme, ground mace, whatever that is. Hopefully not that spray. Hopefully not that. Onion powder, dried sage, black pepper, cayenne pepper. You just mix it all together and try that instead of salt. Life can still have a lot of flavor. Besides salt, right? It's true. You're listening to us live here in the studio in Busan on this Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to us here on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jeongkwan, and Noksan areas. Also, we're on Seoul in Seoul on TBS EFM 101.3 FM and in Gwangju on GGN 98.7 FM. And we're also on NawTube right now on the YouTube. All you got to do is go to youtube.com and search BEFM or Busan영어방송, and you can see me right there in all my brown glory today. This is my no salt color for the day. Use anything but salt. Yeah. Go with those like herbs and seasonings. There's so many of there in my kitchen, in the cabinets, in the refrigerator, things I never think to use. Good reminder today. So yes, flavor your life without salt, right? I do want to let you know, if you do join us on YouTube, we do have a music copyright issue, so we're not able to stream the music. It will be muted on YouTube. However, it is completely uninterrupted on FM radio, and we do have our very own smartphone app you can download if you just go to the App Store on your phone and search BEFM or Busan영어방송. You can download that. Listen to us wherever you might be today. I was on the subway today, for example. Listen on the subway. Pretty cool, right? And you can also log in and leave us comments that way. So we do apologize for the inconvenience for having to mute the songs online and hope to get that resolved as soon as possible. We do have a lot coming up for you on the show today. In hour number 1, we're going to start off as we usually do with Hot Off the Press. That is where we bring you 2 new songs every day that have recently been released from the world of music. And we tell you a little bit about the artist and the track. And also, because today is Thursday, we've got Michael coming in for Parenting 101. And this is a fun time. Michael gives us a little bit of perspective on how to be a good parent, things to do to not upset your child. I had a lot of fun with that last week. Looking forward to it again today. And also, we've got in hour number 2, we've got our daily list. Today's topic, we're going to talk about healthy dishes from around the world. Perhaps dishes don't require so much salt. That's the hope, right? We can kind of get away from that overly used condiment. And also, in hour number 2, we're going to have Inside Korea. We do this every Wednesday and Thursday. We talk about some news, some culture, some events, things that are going on here in South Korea where we live, just to kind of keep an eye on what's going on. And today we've got some interesting stuff about travel and also showcasing Korean culture, but through foreigners, not through Koreans. Interesting. And also, at the end of the show, we will have our perfect playlist. This week, our theme has been songs about beginning again, so we'll have some songs on that topic for you as well. And I will be checking your messages throughout the show. So you can say good afternoon, for example. Send me a nice good afternoon. I appreciate those always. Or you can say, well, how the weather is today. It's definitely a little windy here in Busan, and I suspect in a lot of places in Korea. as David mentioned there is definitely going to be some wind coming towards us. And also it's still kind of hot, like the wind kind of cools you off to a point, but it's still definitely hot out there, especially when you're out there in the sun, when there's no cloud cover, right? And if you'd like to chime in, I've got a question of the day for you related to food. What is something you eat for your health outside of meals? So 건강을 위해 식사 이외에 챙겨 먹는 것은 무엇인가요? I'm going to say that one more time because, why not? 건강을 위해 식사 이외에 챙겨 먹는 것은 무엇인가요? So I was thinking what that might include. So try to think like outside of your typical, maybe if you have like 3 meals a day. I know some people have only 2 meals a day. I've had 0 meals today, so really trying a new diet strategy. So besides like a meal like breakfast, lunch, or dinner, maybe think about the things that you have outside that, like maybe vitamins or supplements, things that you take specifically for health. Or perhaps you have like specifically healthy drinks like, freshly squeezed juice, which I love whenever possible. Or perhaps like a smoothie or some kind of, what do they call those things? Milkshakes, the unhealthiest thing possible in the world. I love them. So maybe something more on the healthy spectrum, right? Also, maybe some kind of snacks that you particularly enjoy throughout the day that are actually good for you. Healthy snacks. Snacks do not have to be bad for you by definition. It's just something you eat in between, meals, the main meals of the day. So I was thinking something that I try to have at least once a day are snacks like fruit. I bought a bunch of, what do you call those things? Chadu, plums. Oh yeah, I forgot the English term. I bought a bunch of plums recently. And I always have almonds and walnuts in the fridge. I keep them in the fridge, and I always just kind of am ready to grab them when I need just a little boost of, not energy per se, but if I feel like I'm getting hungry and I want to eat something healthy, I'll grab some of those. So that's, for example, that's what I do to try to, stay healthy besides the meals that I eat throughout the day. And it's food that definitely keeps me going throughout the day as well. So fruit and nuts. So that's how I do it. What do you do? Let me know. You can reach us here at Shop Gugong Ogong or pound 9050 for 101. You could reach us for free at Kakao Talk if you search BEFM or Busan영어방송. You can add us and send us messages for free that way. And for example, I got a nice message here. I'll share with you. From Choi Hee-suk Nim, who says, it's nice to have the cool wind, but it brings a lot of dust in the house for sure. I'm not complaining. My wife opened the windows before I left the house, and I'm not complaining. I promise you this is not complaining, but I was thinking the exact same thing. Isn't that all that dust's going to come like right in there? I didn't say a word. So this is our secret, okay? Don't tell her I said anything. Our secret, right? So you can send us messages exactly like that on Kakao Talk, or you can send us a message via the smartphone app I mentioned before. You can just download that in the App Store on your phone, log in and send us some comments that way. And you can also reach us on the YouTube chat as well. Feel free to chime in on there. I'm always happy to see some chats going on. I'm always curious what people are talking about in there. Sometimes I don't have the time to answer every message, so forgive me in advance, but I do appreciate all the messages I get throughout the show. And one more message for you that is important to leave you with. There still is a heat wave warning in effect in most parts of the country here, so do try to avoid outdoor activities as much as possible. If you do go out, wear light clothing, a wide-brimmed hat, and carry a water bottle. A word of advice, if you do have a wide-brimmed hat on today, you might have to grab onto it really quickly. My hat was taken off. If you're at construction sites, strictly adhere to heat safety rules. Make sure to get enough water, shade, and rest, and actively implement heat wave break times during the hottest hours of the day. And be thoroughly prepared for the heat wave by drinking enough water and taking short breaks whenever possible. If you do have symptoms such as dizziness, nausea, or a headache, try to find a cool place to take a rest. So with that being said, everybody stay safe out there. And the weather's going to be a little bit weird this week for sure. So be careful out there. We're going to take a quick song break. Interesting choice. Yeah, speaking of the wind, we're going to listen to Chasing the Wind by Lainey Gardner, and we'll be back with Hot Off the Press. You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and that song was Chasing the Wind by Lainey Gardner. And now it is time for Hot Off the Press. We do this every day, Monday through Friday. We bring you two of the newest, hottest tracks from around the world of music. And we know there's a lot of songs to parse through, right? So we do that for you, and we bring you two songs that we think you're really going to enjoy every day. And our first one today is called Cadillac Song by Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande releases a new vinyl and digital deluxe version of this song, My Everything, for the 10th anniversary. And last week, the pop celebrity memorialized years of My Everything by sharing brand new plastic and electronic luxurious versions of her 2014 period. Somebody must have had to do some research to look back into that, right? This was a year that found her controlling the Billboard Hot 100, leading 10, with hits such as Break Free, Love Me Harder, and Problem. And, she went on to win a Grammy, of course. She also introduced a brand new electronic luxurious version of the song of the My Everything, consisting of Too Close, and this one we're going to hear, Cadillac Song. And this is the very first time those tracks have actually ever been offered for streaming. So that's a big deal for fans for sure, right? Our second song today is Violet by Joe P. Joe P is an alternative artist, producer, multi-instrumentalist, and has released his long-awaited debut album, Garden State Vampire. The release also arrives alongside an official music video for the single that we're going to hear called Violet. He said, "One of the reasons I named the album Garden State Vampire is that I really thrive in being in a place that no one pays much attention to. Instead of living in Nashville or LA or New York, like a lot of people in the music business. It's kind of nice to feel like I'm alone on a different planet where the only thing that matters is staying true to whatever these songs want to be." And he's not alone. I mean, the Garden State has had many notable acts throughout history of music, Bon Jovi being one, and the Misfits being another. So our two songs today for Hot Off the Press. First up, Cadillac Song by Ariana Grande, followed by Violet by Joe P.
Love you for a long time.
You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and that song was Violet by Joe P. And before that, you heard Cadillac Song by Ariana Grande. And those are our two songs for Hot Off the Press for today. I hope you enjoyed those, and I hope you're enjoying today's topic. The question was, what is something you eat for your health outside of meals? So, 건강을 위해 식사 이외에 챙겨 먹는 것은 무엇인가요? And I got some answers I would like to share really quick. I got from 1437 Nim, who says, for me, I don't think I take any other supplements in the daily food consumption to maintain my health, well-being, and wellness. Instead, I prefer to have a well-balanced diet as much as I can. As you mentioned, I also try to add a wide range of fruit and veggies to meals and snacks, plus legumes and whole grain. So legumes being those things, fancy things like beans, lentils. There's a bunch of legumes, isn't there? Yeah, I think there's a few more things out there that are considered legumes. Choi Hee-suk Nim says, these days, I'm into different kinds of nuts, and it's good for something for when I'm hungry. Yeah, totally. I'm the same way. So you'll always find a bag of almonds or walnuts in my fridge if you come to my house. Feel free. Grab. I enjoy those with chocolate, too, just to completely ruin the healthy aspect. Yes, because why not? Because you can't be healthy all the time, right? You can't. I got another message from Jogum Tong Nim, who says, I sometimes buy and drink a bottle of yogurt when there's a yogurt car on the block. And we were discussing that during the break. We were talking about the name of the yogurt car. We came up with, what was it? Yogurt driving machine was Michael's suggestion. I think I've called it the yogurt car, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There is a brand name specifically for it, which is short for cold and cool, apparently. So there you go. So there's another name for it. Poe also mentioning Coke is perhaps not the best thing for your teeth. So if you enjoy that as a snack, that's maybe one of those things you want to not drink too much. But there are plenty of healthy drinks out there. Fresh squeezed, any kind of juice is fairly healthy, I think. And if you want to send us your answer, you can reach us here at 샵9050 or at pound 9050 for 101. You can reach us for free via the Kakao Talk app or also our very own smartphone app. You can just search BEFM or Busan영어방송 to find those. And of course, you can message us on YouTube as well on our little chat there. There's an ongoing debate about the merits of drinks that are colas, those kinds of drinks. But right now, we're going to take a quick break so we can come back with Michael and Parenting 101. All right, that music is very serious, and it means it's time for Parenting 101. Good afternoon, Michael.
How you doing, Casey?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm getting hungry, thinking all about food today.
Yeah, you guys keep talking about all these snacks and these food supplements. Getting hungry, too.
Yeah. You feeling it?
I do.
Do you have particular snacks that you eat that are, you think, in the more healthy vein? Or
Yeah, as soon as you said the question, I was like, this is perfect for me because I stopped eating rice.
Completely?
Yeah.
I went through that phase.
Really?
It's hard to keep up with.
For me, it's not. It's it feels like, I don't know, it just feels better for my body. Like I just feel lighter and I don't feel exhausted at the end of the day when I do it. But there's a lot of Koreans who think I'm going to die soon from not eating rice every day.
I was going to ask you, do you get criticized?
Including my wife, yeah.
Yes. I got that as well. And it's a bit of a pressure, like especially if do you ever have meals with like colleagues at work?
Yeah, right.
And then you're the weirdo who doesn't get the rice?
Well, I'll just, I'll eat it then. It's not like this, I'm principled about it and I'm like, rice must never, enter my mouth.
Throw it off the table?
Yeah, no, I'm not like that. I will eat it if we're out at a restaurant and it calls for it. But something like just having doenjang jjigae without the rice next to it. Yep. And some people are like, oh, it's too salty like by itself. But then if you're eating rice, I mean, you're eating the same amount of the salty jjigae, but just with the rice, it's not really that different.
You're fooling yourself, is what you're saying. The same amount of salt is going into your body.
So what I'll do instead is I have bought some protein bars.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I've replaced that. And it's like, something like 21 grams of protein in this little bar. It doesn't taste great, but you get used to it. And then pretty soon it becomes a thing that you actually like after about a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you just like telling yourself that? Or are you kind of like... This is delicious. Ugh.
Yeah, at first it was supposed to be cookie dough flavor, and I'm
not
like,
quite.
why does this taste like an old like taffy? And then after a month, I was like, I would actually like to have one of those. So I'm into the protein bars to answer the question. Yeah.
So there you go. So one healthy snack recommendation. Is it really healthy or is it ultra processed food?
It's super processed, so
So it's a really healthy. We
Yeah,
don't
this
know.
is something that you can just imagine squirting out of a giant machine in a factory. Yeah, there you go. There's your protein supplement for the day, sir.
Then the person who makes those is like, I would never eat that.
Knowing what goes in.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, it's worked out for me so far. I guess I haven't had a health check since I started doing it, Casey.
Uh-oh.
But we're here for
Yes.
Parenting 101. And
That's right.
today, last week, we talked about comparing yourself to other parents online.
Right.
Because there's a lot of, these days, social media posts about parenting advice, and here's what I do with my kids in the morning, and here's how we get going in the day, here's how I teach them things. And then when you do that and you're scrolling and you're comparing, a lot of times you'll feel bad about yourself.
Always.
In the end.
Anytime I check into social media, I feel bad immediately.
Yes.
Like, I'm
and-
not doing that. Whatever they're doing, I'm not doing it.
Right. And so I'm a bad dad because of this and this
Right.
kind of thing. So today I wanted to kind of bring the opposite. And what I want to do is, with the help of Glenn Busan, who is
Excuse me?
comedy writer, Glenn Busan.
Oh, okay.
Glenn Busan.
The former singer of the Misfits, I believe.
It's not.
Oh, no.
And
Okay.
Glenn Busan is a woman, actually.
Oh,
with the name Glenn, with a double N.
Interesting. Like
Yes.
Glenn Danzig, but not.
Yes, that's correct. But Glenn Busan is a comedy writer, wrote on the Conan O'Brien show for a little while.
Oh, okay.
And then came out with 2 books that I want to talk about today. And both books are just trying to make parents feel a little bit better about themselves by comparing them to worse parents.
Oh, good. I like this.
Yeah, right? So
Yes.
this is the other side. If you compare yourself to these super parents on social media, you feel terrible, but
Right.
let's compare it to some really terrible ones. And since we're both dads, I want to start with, there's a dad book and a mom book. The mom
Okay.
book came out in 2022. Usually people start with the moms and then they go, I'll do one for the dads too.
I guess.
And that just came out this past summer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the dad book is called There Are Dads Way Worse Than You, Unimpeachable Evidence of Your Excellence as a Father.
I recommend this as a Father's Day gift
Yeah.
without having read it. Just title alone.
It is pretty cool. And it's also really easy because it's mostly just illustrated, and each page will have a 2-line rhyme.
Oh, cool.
So it kind of reads like a kid's book, actually, as you
Which
go
is
through
what
it.
fathers need, to be honest. Attention span's not there.
Yeah, so I think if you read it just cover to cover, it'd probably take about 8 minutes if you were just reading.
Says you. I would probably take me 8 years. I can't read books.
Right, so for the dad one, it's comparing you to fictional characters who were terrible fathers. And I'm
Okay.
talking about mostly from movies, but also
Okay.
some from myths. Are there any, when I say that, are there any immediate terrible fathers from movies and myths that come to mind that you might see in the book?
I actually thought neither of movies nor myths. I thought instantly of TV. Al Bundy was the first name that popped in my head.
Married with Children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Homer Simpson, terrible father. All of those animated shows. What's that other one that's a knockoff of The Simpsons?
King of the Hill, no. Family Guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
Family
called
Guy.
it a knockoff. I
Yeah.
said it.
Peter Griffin
That's
from
right.
Family Guy.
That's right.
He's a terrible dad.
He is.
But there's some bad fatherhood happening
Oh, yeah.
in
All
King
the
of the
South
Hill.
Park fathers, yes. Any animated show, it seems like they're all terrible fathers.
That's right. So all of those could go in. Actually, none of those are actually in the book, to my knowledge.
Okay.
But I will go through some of them for you here just so you get an idea of what they are. And then any dads out there, you can feel better about yourself, because the idea here is that you are not as bad as this person.
Good. I like it.
So there are some spoilers here, but
I see a cover.
there
There's
you
a
go.
spoiler right there.
That's the first one I'm going to talk about. Way to go, not PD Nim. So it's Darth Vader is the first one.
Oh, he's somebody's father.
Yes.
Is this a spoiler?
This is a huge spoiler. And if you don't know this already, then I don't have any sympathy for you. You need to know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
Oh, really?
You need to know that.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't didn't know that.
In 2024, if you don't know that.
You're right. If you don't know that, I mean, that's an amazing ability to be outside of culture.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes. And so I'm happy to spoil it for you in that case, because you don't deserve to not know that. So Busan, I said that each picture and character comes with a little rhyme. So I'm going to read to you what is there for the page for Darth Vader.
Okay.
It says, oops, forgot their bath time? Mess up a midday snack? Better than cauterizing lightsaber attack.
Oh, that's a tough rhyme she came up with there.
Yes, snack and attack.
There.
And she
well
cauterizing. Cauterizing is when you cut somebody with something very hot, and then the wound immediately closes.
Right. Think Rambo. If you've never seen First Blood,
Yep.
Rambo, he has to do that himself.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So obviously in Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader cuts off Luke's hand.
Man, you are totally spoiling that movie.
It's on the cover of the book. It had a picture of a hand on the floor.
For anybody who's never seen it, what is that, 1981?
Yeah.
Shame on you for not knowing.
You don't need to see it anymore.
That's right.
So here we go. At least you're not Darth Vader, Casey.
Yeah. You know what? He's a terrible father.
He's bad.
Yeah, and redemption, I guess, towards the end. I mean, kind of.
Yeah, but hand
late.
already cut off.
Too little, too late, right?
Yeah, a lot of trauma already happened.
Yeah.
And I'm actually not going to talk about that. That's a bigger spoiler than what I said.
Oh.
But all right, so next up is King Midas.
Oh, wow, we're going old school.
Yeah, so this is also in there. And Busan writes, poor dad, rich dad, in between. Nobody's gonna care. Midas had the golden touch, and look what happened there.
You know, I actually didn't notice. I didn't know that King Midas was a father.
Yes, so the famous part of the King Midas myth here is that he would like to be wealthier, and so he is granted the wish of anything he touches turns into gold.
Right. Okay.
And then, yes, the ending of it is that he hugs his own daughter, and she becomes a golden statue. Like
Right.
he turns his daughter into gold, killing her.
Really? You can't survive that?
Yeah. Everything.
You can't at least
all
be
gold.
sold?
You can't be alive still when you're gold. So that's the other one, King Midas. Now, the thing with this is that you might notice that some of these she chose purposefully because they are actually connected to real anxieties that fathers have.
About turning your children into gold? I've had that dream.
Specifically in this one, actually, on the other side of it, not providing enough for your kids, not having enough money to provide correctly for your kids, not
Right.
sending them to the best schools because I can't afford the tuition, and not buying them the best clothing and having the nicest car to take them to school in, and things like that.
Right.
So are there any, which character, if I do some quick hits here, the other ones in the book, Thanos.
Oh.
That's a spoiler too, but one of the characters in the Marvels,
Series,
is Thanos' daughter.
Right.
And he does
I think adopted.
And not nice thing to the daughter that he did.
Yeah.
Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Oh, yes, terrible father.
Yes.
You don't want to see your father wielding an axe.
Yes. And
You don't want to see that.
here's Johnny through the door. That's not a good thing. And then Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was an interesting one.
Oh. Rick
Moranis character, Wayne Selinsky.
Great name.
So he's an inventor he created this ray that can shrink and also enlarge if
Right.
you reverse the polarization of it. And then he didn't do it on purpose, but his kids were shrunk to the size of ants.
So just very irresponsible as a father?
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, if you had an invention like that, you probably should lock it up, but maybe not keep it at home.
Dangerous things at home. Dangerous
There you go.
items.
There you go. That's the anxiety that is actually
Americans
connected.
should actually pay attention to that.
Yes, lock boxes for those things that can go boom in your homes.
I could see. Okay, I could see the relation to that. All right, fair enough.
So which one of these characters connects to an anxiety that you kind of feel most pressingly as an actual father?
I don't know if you know this, but I grew up in Long Island, so I have all of the above anxieties. So it's just like a part of Long Island culture to have as many anxieties as possible. So all of them.
I thought about this question for myself too, and I was like, just sign me up for everything. Check all the boxes.
Yeah.
What is there not to be worried about as a dad,
I'm
right?
telling you, yes, for sure. Like I was worried about all of the above plus more.
Yeah.
So very interesting for sure. I tell you what, this is a great spot to take a song break. We're going to listen to the song Walking on the Sun by Smash Mouth, and then we'll be back with Michael and more Parenting 101.
Busan.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. reboot. That song was Walking on the Sun by Smash Mouth. A little throwback to the 90s there, I believe, right? It felt like 90s to me. 90s-ish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were both alive at that time, right?
Yeah, I think that was probably sophomore year of high school for me, maybe.
Oh, you're a little younger than me. Not by much.
Oh.
I promise you.
Like
I'm
a
here in the
year.
studio with Michael. We're here for Parenting 101. We're not here for Smash Mouth reunion talks because, that'll probably happen. They'll do it on their own. We're actually here to talk about why dads should feel better because of a new book, right?
That's
because, yeah, we were talking about why we feel bad last week comparing ourselves to social media superstar parents.
Yes. And
That's not what we need.
I wanted to make us all feel better and compare us to really terrible fictional parents.
Oh, yeah, they're fictional.
They were.
Is that always the case of the book? They're only fictional parents?
No, actually. So we're going to move on to the mom book. And
Okay.
the mom book, it came out 2 years ago. So Glenn Busan also wrote that one. Same illustrator. I didn't mention her before. Priscilla Witt was the illustrator for the books.
Look like cool illustrations from what I saw, yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Very niche. It's like something that would be great on a coffee table if you were
Or a t-shirt.
in grad school.
Right.
Or a t-shirt,
Luke's hand on the...
yeah.
Aw.
And so the mom one is not fictional characters, it's animals.
Oh.
And the title is There Are Moms Way Worse Than You, Irrefutable Proof That You Are Indeed a Fantastic Parent.
Sweet. So the same idea, but not with fictional characters,
But with animals. And just terrible animal parents.
which there must be plenty.
And this actually is very connected to what Busan said was the inspiration for the books. Is that she said that she was having a conversation with her friend who was a mother, and her friend was having a very bad day and felt very bad as a parent. And she said to her, hamster moms eat their babies, so at least you're not doing that. And she laughed. I was just like, you're right, ha ha ha, that's really funny. And then she felt a lot better.
Really?
And then she
It worked.
said, yeah, it worked surprisingly. And then she felt a lot better, and then she said, I should just make a book out of these and make parents feel better. And that's
Like
her.
you
that's her
never
mission.
know where inspiration is going to come from for a book, I guess.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Who do you think the bad animal parents will be?
All right, I've got
Do you
one
watch
guess.
a lot of nature documentaries?
Not in a while, but I do enjoy them whenever I have the chance.
I love them.
Yeah, and that's something I hope, I try to watch things like that with my kids.
Yes.
Until the, attack scene happens and I'm like, oh, I forgot this is going to happen. The
Whoops.
tiger just ate that thing.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens. But if there's especially cute, so I haven't seen a lot of examples of bad behavior with animal moms. I got one guess though, hamsters. Yeah? How did I do?
It feels like you almost cheated with that one
Oh.
since we just talked about hamsters. And,
Oh, sorry, short attention span. Sorry about that.
So you're right about that, but there are also many others in the book. I'm going to start with, I'm going to break a lot of hearts out there. I'm going to say pandas.
No way.
Yeah, everybody's in love with pandas because of Fu Bao.
Yeah.
Fu Bao and Ai Bao. And there's a love affair going on with pandas and many Koreans out there. But
Uh-oh. Not anymore.
many times panda mothers will have twins and
Okay.
they will abandon the weaker of the two.
Oh.
And when I say abandon, I mean,
Just see ya.
yeah, it'll be like refusal to feed. And apparently that panda cubs, they need a lot of care. And the panda mothers have to kind of like massage their waste out of their bodies early on. They are not even able to expel waste properly. They
Oh my
are
goodness.
even more helpless than a human baby.
Can you imagine having to do that? I might have abandoned something too, maybe.
Abandon both.
Yes.
Yes. So for this one, pandas, they do abandon the twin, and it's
Wow.
it's actually pretty rare for both to survive as a result of that. If there are the twins that are born,
Right.
Usually one of them will die, and the mother will refuse to take care of one of them. The rhyme for this one in the book is panda moms are perfect until they're blessed with two. Twins are hard, so they'll ditch one. It's terrible and true.
Aw. That's a sugary coating on a terrible fact.
Yeah, a lot of putting the rhyme in there with it to make it sound like a children's book. It just makes the horrible thing. I guess that's the comedy of it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Spoonful
job.
of sugar
Yes.
helps the medicine go down.
Yep. And so pandas. Next up, koalas.
That doesn't surprise me. From what I understand, they are nasty animals. They're
yeah,
cute, but
yeah. There's a lot of things I think that you would find out about koalas. The problem with koala, parents, is it's a pretty gross sounding one. But the rhyme is, for dinner time, a koala mom will feed her kids her poop. Remember that when you feel bad for giving yours fast food.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, when you compare fast food to, straight up, dung.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that comparison is made.
Yes.
But when you actually literally mean that, wow.
Yeah, this would be a good one at dinner when your kids are complaining about dinner. You say, you know what koala moms feed their kids?
You want me to start? Tomorrow. Oh, wow. That's disgusting. Now, is there any reason?
This one sounds very gross, but it actually is very healthy for the babies to eat the mom's poop because it helps them develop the microbiome that's necessary to digest the eucalyptus plants,
Yeah.
So they don't just naturally have those bacteria in their stomachs. They need that. So if they get that from the mother, the easiest way to do that is by eating the mother's waste.
This is like what came first, the chicken or the egg? So what koala developed that ability first, right? Because they're like eucalyptus, they love it, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, which one figured out this is how I can make my baby digest eucalyptus?
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
That's actually amazing, mother.
It was the dirtiest one. And then
all
somehow
the children
it was like,
lived.
it worked. And then they became like the top of the food chain there. Yeah.
Adaptation's amazing.
Yes.
We got time for one more.
One more. Okay, quokkas. You know what
those little cute, those are cute things.
Yeah, so a quokka is a kind of a small wallaby.
Sure.
It lives in Australia.
Right.
And the rhyme here is, if a quokka mom comes face to face with dingoes in the wild, guess what she'll do to get away? That's right, she'll toss her child.
Oh, see ya.
And so a dingo is like a dog, and so that's the thing that will attack and eat a quokka, this little cute wallaby.
Oh man!
And then so in that time of danger, it's like fight or flight, or just throw your baby and run.
Oh my god!
And so the throw your baby and run. Now, so this one, it sounds terrible because you are abandoning your child and you are sacrificing the child so that you can survive. However, if you look at this from an objective kind of evolutionary way, the mothers will go on to have many more babies.
Right. She knows that.
Yeah. That's why she's doing it. She's trying to help the species.
The pros and cons.
But yeah, it would evolutionarily, it is the smart thing to do. It looks terrible, and apparently, I was also reading there that they don't actually throw them. That what happens is that they're riding in a pouch, and the pouch muscles naturally contract, and they get shot out of the pouch, involuntarily. They just go, "Oh, dingo," and boop. And it kind of pops out. They're not actually physically throwing it with two paws.
That makes it better.
Yeah.
That makes it better. Well, Michael, thank you so much for bringing us all this fascinating information that we can use to feel better about ourselves.
Yeah, you're not as bad as all of these parents, so feel better about yourself today.
All right, and we're going to take a quick break because we're right out of time. And Michael will be back next week, of course, and we're going to listen to Breakfast at Tiffany's by Deep Blue Something, and we'll be back at 3.
BEFM 부산 영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스코존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
여름의 끝을 잡고
안녕하세요. 어스터 잉글스의 김조한입니다. 이번 여름 많이 더우시죠? 그래서 여러분들을 위한 여름밤 토크 콘서트 준비했습니다. 민수, what do we have?
Yes, 한이형. This August 31st at 7 p.m. All-Star English가 영도 피아크에 여러분들을 찾아갑니다. 물론 에이샤도 함께요.
야, 저를 빼먹으시면 안 되죠. 선물이 팡팡 터지는 영어 퀴즈 시간부터 청취자 여러분들의 영어 고민도 함께 들어봅니다. 지금 올스타 홈페이지에 가셔서 여러분들의 영어 고민 적어주세요. 추첨을 통해 선물도 드립니다.
에이씨야! 나를 빼먹으면 어떡해요?
아, 맞다! 북이!
아이 참! 그리고 무더운 여름밤에 더위를 날려줄 특별 게스트 래퍼 윤비의 힙합 공연과 가수 김조한의 미니 콘서트도 기대해주세요!
오는 8월 31일 토요일 저녁 7시 피아크에서 만나요.
끼룩!
The time is now 3 o'clock.
You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and that song was Just a Chance by Badfinger to kick off the second hour of the show. And if you're not familiar with Badfinger, the Welsh group was actually known as the Ivies before, but the Beatles actually renamed them Badfinger after their road manager Neil Aspinall came up with the name. He got the idea from John Lennon, who used to talk about his quote-unquote Badfinger boogie. And actually all four members of the band wrote some songs, but Pete Ham, who was the guitarist, wrote most of their hits, including the songs Day After Day, No Matter What, and Baby Blue, famously featured in the TV show Breaking Bad. And Ham also wrote the Harry Nilsson hit, Without You, and there's a reason why Harry Nilsson's version became the more well-known one for sure. But the group also did play on George Harrison's first solo album, All Things Must Pass, which is also a very classic album. And Badfinger actually went on to be a big influence in the power pop genre of music for bands like Cheap Trick. So there you go. Welcome to the program, everybody. You're listening to us here on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jeonggwan, and Noksan areas. In Seoul, we're on TBS EFM 101.3 FM. And in Gwangju, we're on GGN 98.7 FM. And thanks for joining us wherever you might be today on this Thursday. Hope you're doing all right out there. You know, we're almost at the end of the week, and it's going to be some wild and strange weather this week, it looks like. But that's all right. We've got a lot coming up for you on the show in hour number 2 to keep you entertained. And first up, we're going to have our daily list. And today's topic, healthy dishes from around the world, things you can try out to perhaps, you know, add some flavor and add some health to your dinner tonight. Perhaps without all the salt, right? I'm sure herbs will be a big part of these dishes. They must be, right? Because any of my favorite dishes are like loaded with herbs and spices. And they're also pretty healthy too, right? And because today is Thursday, we do this every Wednesday and Thursday. We have Inside Korea today. We'll have a couple stories about what's going on here in the country we live in, and some about travel, some about showcasing Korean culture. So a variety of topics today for you. And at the end of the show, we'll have our perfect playlist. This week's theme, Songs About Beginning Again. We'll have 2 songs on that theme for you at the end of the show. And of course, I'll be checking your messages throughout the show. So feel free to drop me a line, say hi. There's all kinds of stuff going on, I'm sure. And my question of the day, if you want to get specific, what is something you eat for your health outside of meals? 건강을 위해 식사 이외에 챙겨 먹는 것은 무엇인가요? almost got all the way through that. Hard question, but easy to answer. Think about something that you eat outside of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, something that when you eat it, you're thinking like, this is good for me. Or you can drink it as well. It can be something you consume that way. It can be something you drink, something you eat, and something that I typically try to eat, at least maybe a few times a week, is yogurt. And Jugum Tongnim mentioned that yogurt being, something you can buy from those traveling refrigerators that you can find in any city in Korea. But I actually make my own yogurt at home, so that's pretty healthy, right? It's easy. We do it like probably once every 2 weeks, make a batch of yogurt. And if I've got I got to run, go somewhere really quick, don't have time to eat, I will enjoy some yogurt. And hello, Mr. Fly. Fly has just joined me in the room here. Apparently, food is, something everybody's looking for, not just humans. And so you can reach us here at Shop Gugong Ogong or pound 9050 for 101. You can reach us for free on Kakao Talk if you search BEFM or Busan 영어방송. Add us and you can send messages that way. And you can also reach us on the smartphone app we have if you just go to the App Store on your phone. Any app store, any phone, doesn't matter. You can just search BEFM or Busan 영어방송 in the App Store. Download the app. Listen to us wherever you go. You can bring, wherever you take your phone, you can listen to us. And you can also send us some comments after you log in on the app. And yes, I see some also. You can message us on NoTube as well. We've got some messages in there in the chat talking about food, what people eat. I see something called agar from Jogun Tong Nim, which is hanchon. I don't know what that is. It's dried and powdered agar to make jellies. And then apparently they're very good for digestion. I'm going to have to search what that is. I have no idea. Something new. Cool. This is what I like sharing for. You learn something new every time you share information, right? So we're going to take a quick song break. Feel free to share more. And I'm going to go search what agar agar is. I don't even know how you pronounce that. But we're going to take a song break. We're going to listen to Black Horse and the Cherry Tree by KT Tunstall. And we'll be back with today's daily list.
2, 3, 4. Ooh.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and you just heard the song Black Horse and the Cherry Tree by KT Tunstall. And the cherry tree part had me thinking about a snack I used to love when I lived in Moldova. I lived with a couple of different host families, but they always seemed to have a cherry tree on their property. And man, that was great. Like they had like sour cherry varieties and like kind of sweet cherry varieties. And I would just pick them all year long as they kind of grew. I miss that. You know what? If you ever had the opportunity to have a fruit tree, it's a fantastic thing. And actually, some of the things on today's daily list might include fresh fruit and vegetables because, we're talking about healthy food. Today's daily list, the topic is healthy dishes from around the world. One suggestion that I had from Jugumtong was about agar agar. So I looked that up to see what that is, and apparently it's made out of, it's like a vegetarian gelatin made from seaweed, maybe particularly from some kind of red algae. And I guess I've probably eaten it before. I've never had kongguksu with the transparent noodles, but apparently that's usually made out of agar agar, which in Korean is hanchon. Cool. And Na PD was telling me that actually that's something you might commonly be able to find in traditional markets and very healthy, apparently loaded with potassium. So that's exactly the kind of stuff we're talking about today, like health food, healthy dishes that are all over the world. Number one on the list for today is spanakorizo, which is a Greek food. It's basically spinach rice, spanak, and rizo. Oh, very cool. You just learned a little Greek today. Oh, it looks good. Oh, that looks good. Spinach rice is a traditional Greek recipe that gives you some vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin K in one single dish, usually served with lemon, fresh dill, and feta cheese. Wow, you can't get more Greek than those ingredients. So that gives you a lot of flavor. Feta cheese, of course, is a little bit salty. If you've never had it, you should be aware. Feta cheese is very salty, but the other ingredients don't have to be at all. And you can eat it as it is, as a main dish. You can eat it as a side dish. Very easy to make without any fancy or expensive ingredients. And believe it or not, it's actually really easy to find dill in Korea. You'll probably have to order it online, but you can find it. I've ordered it many times, and I highly recommend this if you've never had it. Number 2 on the list is also one of my favorites, pho. In English, we also often call it pho, but I don't think that's how it's pronounced in Vietnamese. This Vietnamese dish is a staple of Vietnamese cuisine for a very good reason. Low in fat, extremely comforting, especially during colder seasons. Not that it gets very, very cold in Vietnam, but still, as the weather gets cooler, it's just one of those things that just warms you up. I often had it for breakfast when I was staying in Hanoi, and it was like a great way to start the day. It's a bunch of key minerals and vitamins in one bowl. You got this broth, which is fantastic, rice noodles, herbs, meat, typically beef, chicken, I think are the most most common, and comfortable for me as well. You can get it with tofu as well, apparently. I've never tried that, but I would definitely give it a shot. All kinds of spices, which include cinnamon, star anise, and ginger. And the combination of those is really what makes it special. You should, however, keep an eye on the sodium levels when you buy it in Vietnam. If you get at a street stall, they'll have like this sauce that looks like soy sauce with it. I'm sure that's loaded in salt. So, add a little bit to taste, but, don't go overboard. Number 3 on the list. I don't think I've ever had this. I love Turkish food. This is süzme mercimek çorbası. Mercimek. Yes, okay. I probably butchered that for my Turkish friends. I apologize. But Turkish cuisine is amazing if you've never tried it. There's a variety of all kinds of breakfast foods, soups, main dishes, and desserts that are just fantastic and unique. If you're looking for something cozy, this süzme mercimek çorbası is basically it's a traditional lentil soup, and it uses red lentils, tomato paste, veggies, several spices, and is kind of creamy. Often served with lemon wedges and spicy red pepper. I think çorbası just means soup in Turkish. So this is a kind of soup, and there's a picture of it up on the Now Tube there. I have had this. It is fantastic, actually. Yeah, I have had this. It's really good, and it's very comforting. Number 4 on the list, something a little closer to home, bibimbap. From right here in Korea, this is a staple dish of Korean cuisine. It's believed to have been served to royals in the Middle Ages, way back when. And it's mixed rice topped with vegetables, meat, sometimes fish also is possible, which is called hwaedapbap, usually hwaedapbap. I've had that as well. Egg is usually a part of the deal, so it's high in calories, but it keeps you full for much longer and is also highly nutritious. The best bibimbap is always with the freshest vegetables. Whatever's like in season, if you can get that kind of bibimbap, that's the winner for me. And there are definitely particular restaurants around Busan that specialize in having fresh ingredients in bibimbap, and that is key for me. You can see in the picture online, there's just like a variety of different like healthy vegetables, often like pre-prepared, like as they would be for banchan, but they're just so delicious. And I always feel good after I eat bibimbap. Even though Michael's apparently not eating rice a lot anymore, I try to limit my rice intake a little bit as well. But you know what? If you get like that purple rice mixed in there, it's so good. Number 5 on the list. Tabbouleh, which comes from a lot of Arab countries. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Tabbouleh is a refreshing salad and side dish that's commonly used in the Arab world. To cook it, you can chop parsley, mix it with tomatoes, mint, onion, bulgur, olive oil, lemon juice, salt, pepper. Think about the combination of parsley and mint together, and you can get an idea of like how much flavor is going to be in that. And if you're a fan of tapas, you'll also love the concept of the Arab meze, which basically means it's kind of like banchan. It's like small dishes that are served as appetizers, perhaps not with the main course meal beforehand. But yeah, meze is actually traditional in other countries as well. In like Eastern Europe, they call it something similar. And it's fantastic and healthy and just like kind of looks good. I like that. When I see a lot of green in a dish, I'm like, this is going to be interesting. So that's going to be half of our daily list. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Spice Up Your Life by the Spice Girls, and then we'll be back with more of the Daily List. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song Spice Up Your Life by the Spice Girls. That's no coincidence. We're talking about foods with all kinds of interesting kinds of spices, especially towards the end there with a tabula. Oh man, that looked really good. You know what? I had parsley that I had bought a big bunch of it over the summer, and I just started putting it in everything, and I didn't realize how much like parsley adds to dishes, because it's something you don't typically use in Korean dishes at all, right? So perhaps for like on the side for appearances, but man, parsley's good. Turns out I had no idea how good it is. And that's what we're talking about on our daily list. We're talking about foods, healthy dishes from around the world. And I got a picture from Lee Kelly Nim, a picture of a bag of Brazil nuts. And Lee Kelly says, I'm like you. Yes, you like to enjoy nuts as a healthy snack. Beware. I had no idea when I first bought Brazil nuts, you should only eat like maybe 1 or 2 a day. You should really limit how many of them you have. They have so much selenium in them, and you can kind of taste it when you eat them, that it can actually be bad for you. So they're very healthy to a point. So don't eat too many of them. Just passing it on. Yeah, I had no idea when I first bought them. I was like, oh, these are very strong. But there's a reason. So they're good. But, everything you eat, always in moderation, right? So back to the daily list. Number 6 on the list is from Puerto Rico, bacalao guisado. And this is actually a codfish dish. Codfish would be daegu, I believe in Korean, right? Codfish is one of the most beloved fish in Puerto Rico as well. Daegu tang is a big thing here. And basically, this is Puerto Rican cod stew. It's got spices, seasonings, and an intense flavor. The dish is tomato-based, flavored with onions, peppers, and garlic. And the salt in the recipe actually comes from the codfish without any extra additions. So there you go. You know, a little less salt today, right? That's the idea. That means you'll get a nourishing meal without too much fuss. It looks like it's probably not that difficult to make. I'm curious. That kind of looks like cilantro on top to me, but that could be parsley instead. Interesting. Anytime I see something green, I'm like, oh, I want to know what that is. Number 7 on the list, ratatouille. Not just a movie, it's a dish as well. And this one comes from France. Ratatouille is beloved by vegans, vegetarians, and meat lovers alike because it's nourishing, but it's also versatile. It's a stew made of eggplants, zucchini, and tomatoes. You can serve it as is. You can put cheese on top. You can add it to other dishes. So there's not really one single correct way of cooking ratatouille. You can basically decide how you want to dice the vegetables, how to slice the vegetables, and personalize it, make it your own. And ratatouille, oh, that's very thinly sliced ratatouille. If I make it, I'm way too lazy for that. I usually slice things a little bit thicker just to save time. And my fingers. I don't trust myself with a knife sometimes. So, but yeah, that's the cool thing about ratatouille. You can make it how you want to, and people will still accept it. That's not always the case, especially when people get picky about their, national dishes. When they're like, no, that's not how you make it. Ratatouille, you have a little leeway. Number 8 on the list is fish curry from Thailand. And, this is one of those spicy dishes, so you got to be ready. Thailand has plenty of spicy curry type dishes, but this one basically is actually easy to make. It's also going to be colorful. It's going to be unique. It's got coconut milk. It's got spinach. It's got spices. It's got fresh fish. People often add fresh lime, and anytime I add lime to anything, oh man, that looks fantastic. Oh, getting hungry. You can also add other kinds of seafood, more vegetables. But yeah, I think the key ingredients for this one is those like fresh herbs and spices, and with the addition of coconut milk. That's what makes it so unique. And the fish is almost like secondary to me at that point. Like I'll eat whatever you put in there. I would probably eat it. Love some Thai curry for sure. Number 9 on the list is muka pata from Mozambique. And this is actually a popular side dish in Mozambique made of rice, coconut, and beans. Sounds very basic, sounds very easy to make. And it's also nourishing and filling. It's a perfect match for grills or curries. So perhaps the aforementioned fish curry, would it make a good match? Maybe. And Mozambique is actually a country where 44% of the territory is pure coast. That means there's a lot of beautiful beaches there. So anytime you go to thinking about food in Mozambique, you're probably going to enjoy some fresh seafood to go with your muka pata. And I guess fish curry. Sounds like a perfect match. Maybe that's why they're together on the list. Delicious. Number 10 on the list is one of my personal favorites, aloo palak from India. Indian cuisine probably doesn't need much of an introduction. A lot of people know it as saucy, creamy, comforting, warm, spicy, intense, and also creative. But did you know about this spinach dish? It's vegan. It's lemony, it's rich in greens and versatile, goes with a huge amount of dishes. And this is one, anytime I go to an Indian restaurant, I will always order at least one serving of aloo palak because it's just like heaven. I've tried making it myself at home, haven't quite mastered it yet. I think it takes a little bit of preparation and a little bit of skill and the right ingredients. But if you do go to a restaurant, there it is. So it's basically spinach and potatoes. I think that's literally what it means in the language. I think it's spinach and potatoes, and it's just so good. Sounds very simple, but the flavors are very, very complex and enjoyable. I highly recommend everything on the list, even the ones I haven't tried yet. They just sound good. So that's going to do it for today's daily list. Healthy dishes from around the world. And just because they're healthy doesn't mean they're not good. Those are all, I guarantee, delicious. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Mr. Jones by Counting Crows, and we'll be back with Inside Korea. You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and this last song was Mr. Jones by Counting Crows, another cool 1990s throwback song. Taking me back. It's taking me back. But right now, we're going into the present. It's time for Inside Korea. We do this every Wednesday and Thursday, and we talk about either news, events, or culture, things that are going on here to kind of just keep us up to date on what's happening in Korea. And one thing that's happening in Korea is apparently travel destinations are changing. Apparently, according to the headline, Gangwon tops Korea's trending travel destinations, outpacing Jeju Island. Korea's southern resort island of Jeju is actually losing its luster as a leading travel spot for Koreans, despite the post-pandemic recovery of domestic travel demand. This is all according to a survey, and they found that instead, Gangwon province on the eastern mountainous coast of the Korean peninsula is actually known to offer similar travel purposes as Jeju and is now emerging as a trending destination. This comes to us from Consumer Insight's monthly report that was released on Tuesday. Apparently, Koreans' interest in travel to Jeju Island stood at 29% in July, marking the lowest since the survey started in 2016. So what do we mean by interest? This refers to the percentage of respondents who said their desire to visit a specific destination has grown compared to the year before. After dropping 9 percentage points from 41% to 32% in May, the figure fell again by 4 percentage points from 33% to 29% from June to July. And so far, according to Korea's domestic travel trends, it looks like it's going to follow a similar post-pandemic trajectory regardless of the region, actually. Most regions showed a gradual decline until 2019, and the plunge right after the COVID-19 pandemic began, followed by a sharp rise from 2021 to 2022 to the highest, and then a decline again. And I guess, as people get accustomed to traveling again, you might have these plans that you've had for a long time, and then, when it actually comes to traveling, you're like, oh, that was a lot of effort. So perhaps, maybe that can explain some of the back and forth between the interest. They did say the downward trend for Jeju, however, is exceptional. They said interest plunged by 18 percentage points between 2022 and 2023 and continued to fall from January to July this year from 41% to 29%. However, the drop in Gangwon province was relatively small, and you can see it if you're on the NoTube with us. You can see there's a graphic there, kind of illustrates the trends there. In Gangwon province, it only decreased by 12 percentage points from 55% to 43% during the same period of time. And Jeju has notably hit an all-time low in terms of travel plan sharing. This is another term I might have to break down. Plan sharing means the percentage of people who are actually planning to travel to a certain destination within the next 3 months. Thus, the sharing, I guess they mean they're sharing their travel plans. The monthly average remained at 12% for the first 7 months of this year, but marked lows of 9% in May and again in July. So that sounds pretty low. It's actually the lowest across the country, lower than figures for the Chungcheong provinces, which have relatively weak travel infrastructure. On the other hand, Gangwon province in January to July, that period stood at 23%, almost double Jeju's 12%. And the figure kind of reversed to an upward trend from March when Jeju's decline began, reaching a peak in July at 27%, 3 times higher than Jeju's. So yeah, it's definitely been kind of like an inverse move on the charts. The survey basically shows that Jeju and Gangwon province overlaps in terms of travel purposes as well. So people kind of have the same reasons for going to each place. This year, those planning for a trip to Jeju cited natural scenery at 35%, resting at 24%, and gastronomy at 18% as the purposes of the trip. The similar answers were given for Gangwon province. 36% said natural scenery, 24% said resting, and 18% saying gastronomy. That's nearly identical. That's kind of spooky. So basically, I guess Gangwon has replaced Jeju in a way as a travel destination. Is that what's going on there? According to the report, the trend shows that travel interest and plan sharing for Gangwon and Jeju Island are inversely proportional. That suggests that the eyes of travelers who have turned away from Jeju Island are heading to Gangwon province. And that's something to be aware of in case you're looking to take a trip at the end of the summer here. Gangwon might be the busy place to get to, and thus accommodations might already be booked. Good to know. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to the Swinging Blue Jeans, and we'll be back with another story for Inside Korea.
For goodness sake, I got the hippie shakes. Yeah, I got the shakes. I got the hippie shakes. Oh, I can't sit still with the hippie shakes. Yeah, I feel my fill now with the hippie shakes. Yeah, it's in the bag. Oh, the hippie shake. Well, now you shake it to the left, you shake it to the right, you do the hippie shake with all of your might, oh baby. Yeah, come on and shake. Oh, it's in the bag. Oh, the hippie shake. Well, now you shake it to the left, you shake it to the right, you do the hippie shake with all of your might, oh baby. Yeah, come on and shake. Oh, it's in the bag. Ooh, the hippie shake. Ooh, the hippie shake. Ooh, the hippie shake.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard it in case you didn't guess by the song lyrics. That song was The Hippie Shake by the Swinging Blue Jeans. And now we're back into Inside Korea. Another story we're going to talk about today is about Korean culture, but perhaps a different way of promoting it. There's something called the K Community Challenge that is going to kick off with foreigners invited to showcase Korean culture. So the government has this annual K Community Challenge for foreigners that has kicked off this Thursday, actually. And this was the Culture Ministry announced that on the same day. And it's going to be an online performance contest inviting participation from non-Koreans. This year's event basically has 4 different categories. There's Joseon Pop, which is a new genre that blends traditional Korean music and gugak with pop elements. There's also Taegwonmu, which is a dance inspired by Taekwondo. And there's Sogochum, which is a traditional Korean dance with handheld drums. And finally, Hanshik, my favorite, Korean cuisine. Yes, that I could perform or participate or whatever they want me to do as long as Hanshik is involved. That is, man, yeah. Suddenly I'm inspired to go find a Hanshik 식당. Oh, 너무 좋아요. So if you want to be a participant, what you have to do is you watch tutorial clips in whatever category you are signing up for. And then you have to film your own videos. And there will be winning teams selected from each category that will be awarded a 7-day trip to Korea. So the idea is to attract people who are outside Korea to participate in this and then bring them here. And they also get an invitation to perform at the K Community Festival, which is set for November 2nd in Seoul. And this is actually not something that started brand new this year. The K Community Challenge was launched in 2019. Last year, 341 people from 46 countries participated in the contest. This year's event includes a collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, Food, and Rural Affairs in the new Hanshik category for the first time. That's the way to my heart. Go through the food. That's what gets me wanted to participate. Just, what would I do? Maybe make a video of me eating Hanshik? Sure, I could do that. Mukbang? Come on. Definitely I can do that. The idea is for this category, they're going to include and introduce easy Hanshik recipes and food products. Man, from my experience eating Hanshik, when I go to like a good restaurant, those recipes do not look easy to prepare. But according to Director General Yang Joo-pil of the Ministry of Agriculture's Food Industry Policy Bureau, who says, I hope that through this contest, Korean culture enthusiasts around the world will see that they can easily enjoy K-food in their daily lives by trying dishes made with Korean agriculture and food ingredients that have been exported to their countries. So according to the minister or the director general there, it sounds like it should be things that are easy enough to make. Maybe I'll have to give it a try. This year's contest also includes short-form challenges as part of the Culture Ministry's effort to lower the entry barrier and to draw more participants. It'll be interesting to see how many they get this year. Anyone who's not a Korean citizen is eligible to participate in the K Community Challenge. Registration runs through September 22nd, that is. And final winners will be announced in October. I wonder, if you're living here, but you're not technically a Korean citizen, can you participate? I wonder. I will have to look into that. If you're looking for more information, it's available on kcommunityfestival.com, which is all together, K Community Festival, no space, no hyphen, and then followed by .com. So, yeah, check it out. See if you're something that you would want to be interested in, for sure. I think I would like to do the Hanshik category. I'm volunteering myself. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Put Your Hands on My Shoulder by Paul Anka, and we'll be back with our perfect playlist. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard Put Your Hands on My Shoulder by Paul Anka. Romantic tune there for sure. But now it is time for our perfect playlist. And our perfect playlist this week, we're featuring songs about beginning again. And our first song for today is Hurricane by Lifehouse. And I guess the idea for this song is kind of think about the context of old relationships. There's always room for forgiveness and a new start. And any relationship can feel like a hurricane at some point, right? This 2015 song describes a couple that has endured hardships together, having made it through hell and back again. They are sadly falling apart now with bitter silence and quailed rage, building a wedge between them. But the narrator refuses to surrender this hard-fought relationship and pleads with his partner so that they can begin again. And the optimist in him believes that it will always get better. You know, hurricanes do pass eventually. Our second song today is New Attitude by Patti LaBelle. And this song is basically the narrator boasting that she has both made aesthetic and emotional changes in the name of love. As a result, she now feels in control with few worries to bother her. And a makeover and some updated ideas have done wonders for her outlook on life. Patti LaBelle actually recorded the hit song for the movie Beverly Hills Cop, and it helped to launch her solo career as a pop artist. And that was certainly a new beginning for her as well. So our two songs on the perfect playlist today. First up, Hurricane by Lifehouse, followed by New Attitude by Patti LaBelle. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song New Attitude by Patti LaBelle, and before that was Hurricane by Lifehouse. Those are our two songs for today's perfect playlist, songs about beginning again. And I see a whole bunch of messages going on there. I appreciate all the feedback today. The question of the day was, what is something you eat for your health outside of meals, right? So healthy food. Ben actually having a really good point. I've read this as well. Not snacking outside of regular meals is generally a healthy choice. But it's hard to do, right? I mean, like sometimes it's from noon to, all right, let's say 1 p.m. conservatively. If you finish lunch at 1 p.m. and then you got to wait till like 6 or 7 p.m. to eat dinner, man, that can be hard, right? So another good point from Ben. Yes, delicious food makes people happy. Happiness is good for health. So you got to snacking and too much is not good for you for sure, but you got to be careful how much you snack for sure and what you eat. Poe also commenting that, wow, avocado is guail? I didn't know that. Yeah, avocado is considered a fruit, but used more like a vegetable, kind of like a tomato, right? Tomatoes are considered a fruit, used as a vegetable. Yeah, all that kind of healthy food out there. A couple of other mentions of food that are making me hungry. Sambap, sengsangui. I guess those would be considered really healthy, right? Sambap especially, a lot of veggies in there. And Lee Kelly mentioning gazpacho is something I've never tried. I've always wanted to. So there's all kinds of healthy food out there. Go out and try some today and have less salt while you're at it. Thanks so much for joining the show. It's time to wrap it up. I've been your host, Casey McKeever. We're going to play one last song for you. We're going to listen to Counting Blue Cars by Dishwalla. And of course, we'll be back at 2:05 p.m. tomorrow. Have a great day and stay tuned for Your Busan.